Today's episode of Track and Food is brought to you by Scout Magazine. If you're wanting to learn more about Vancouver's food and cultural sphere with regards to community news, new restaurant openings, essential guides to some of the city's best offerings, as well as who's hiring, Scout is where you should go. You can find them at scoutmagazine.ca. That's scoutmagazine.ca. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Track and Food Podcast. My name is Jamie Ma, your host as always. This is the second installment of the Track and Food Podcast on YouTube. So if you're following me on YouTube, I really appreciate it. Please subscribe if you like the content you're seeing today. I'm in my apartment, as I tend to be. Anyways, I just finished recording with my good friends James Iranzad of Gooseneck Hospitality and my good friend James Langford-Smith of Pamplemousse Jus. If you've listened to this podcast in the past, you know that I've had them on millions of times. They're two of my closest buddies, and I just love engaging with them about the hospitality industry. And today's episode is none other of a great topic and content for you. The boys, I gave them a little bit of homework. I wanted to talk about the BCLDB strike and kind of the fallout of that, because that was obviously a big thing here for the industry over the last couple months. Me and Jimmy kind of have a lot of similar thoughts on that, so I wanted to hear them discuss things. And then we also talked about Eater and their 38 restaurant list series. Nikki Bailey, who is a great writer here in the Vancouver community, wrote the most recent edition of that on October 10th. Saw it. I liked it. There's a lot of interesting choices that she made. And I wanted to talk to the boys about what it would be like for us if we got to write our own Eater 38. How would we go about doing that? So I wanted to hear their thoughts on that, and especially James Langford-Smith, because he and I completely differ on how we do it. But it was nice to discuss that. And then also we talked about content creators. The Vancouver Sun recently wrote a column about that and how they're emerging in the food restaurant sphere and how they become a really big part of kind of branding and promotion for restaurants, and how they're using them, and how it's kind of becoming kind of this parallel kind of world where they're now kind of a necessary. So I thought that was interesting to talk with them and hear some of their thoughts. I didn't really agree with them on everything, and I also don't always agree with kind of where that world is going, but that's okay. I guess I participated in some ways, but I look at it in a little bit different fashion. But at the end of the day, they're here to stay. And obviously, content creators, I think they're doing a good thing for the restaurant industry, especially if they really care about it. So no hate there, should I say. But it was interesting to debate about kind of the nuance of the content creator world. And that's something that fascinates me. And then otherwise, we talked about New York Times recently dropped this interesting column about this new restaurant opening up in New York, about how it's like two basically green restaurateurs wanting to kind of open up their first restaurant, and kind of they followed the whole journey. And I thought it was really interesting, and I really wanted to talk to the boys about that and kind of hear their thoughts and how that process went about for them. And then as they're reading it, what did they think about that? And as two men who've opened up lots of restaurants, I kind of wanted to dig into that a little bit, so that I thought that was interesting. But overall, the boys are doing good. It's always nice to sit down with them and have some wine and have some good laughs. So I hope you enjoy it. If you've listened to our podcast in the past, they're always a lot of fun. Otherwise, things are going really well here in the city. I think the restaurant industry is starting to come out of this, the BCL strike, which I know is really difficult for a lot of operators. But overall, a lot of good new restaurants opening up in the city. Unfortunately, we've had a few sad closures recently, but that's the way of the life of this hospitality industry. But I think people are really resilient, and I really love talking about them, and I fight for this industry, and so I'm very proud to be a part of it, and talking with you, and I hope you enjoy the content. So without further ado, I'll bring on the boys and enjoy. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 110 of the Track and Food Podcast. You're sitting here with Jamie Ma, as always, your host, and I'm sitting here in a great studio of my apartment with the lovely James Iranzad and the James Langford-Smith. It's another Triple J episode, by the way.
Hi, buddy.
G'day, mate.
And you get to see how pretty these gentlemen are, because we're going to be on YouTube today. So,
Oh boy, that's scary.
So we might start a poll. I think we're going to do a poll of who's the more handsome.
No,
of the two.
I hate that.
Why not?
That's not fun.
I think it's pretty fun, actually.
James is worried he's going to come in last.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you're the oldest.
You're going to win.
He's the oldest and he's the youngest. I mean, he should be winning this one by far, don't you think?
I mean, I think beauty's in the inside. No?
Oh my god.
No, that's what people say. So,
This is why I'm single, and the two of you
Yeah.
maybe aren't single.
There goes our female audience.
No, I'm just kidding. No, gentlemen, it's really nice to see you both.
Yeah.
It is early November of 2025. I can't believe this year is almost done. I think we've done 3 episodes this year together. We did one in early January, and then we did one in June, I think. And
You and I did, I
Yeah.
think.
No,
Yeah.
we did one with him.
Oh, did one. We did one more recently.
You and I did one
Yeah, I was
recently.
in California.
You're
Sorry,
in California.
I missed the phone calls.
That's all right. I know we did call you.
I know you did
But you're
try.
being a really good. You're being a really good father that
I
day.
was with
So-
my father. I was with my child.
So he's grown up to be a really
Yeah.
cute little boy.
He is big. He's 11.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, he's an adult. Well, not an adult, but
Come on, man.
he's a little human.
Slow it down.
Is he?
I feel it. I mean, he takes care of me.
Mhm.
Like he was like, Dad, have you drank water today? I'm like, why? Simmer down, my guy.
Really?
Yeah. He's a very Wyatt is very responsible. He is the opposite of me. It's really sweet. It's very.
But
yeah.
why do you not like to drink water?
I love to drink water. He
Oh,
just
okay.
likes to. He likes to take care of me.
Okay.
Wyatt's like my dad. He's very academic, quite nerdy.
Mm.
Yeah, and very polite and soft-spoken.
All the things you're not. Like
Yeah,
you said, right?
exactly.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, loves to read, loves school, wants to go to university. I'm just stoked I didn't go to high school, so.
You sure he's your kid?
Yeah, unfortunately it looks very similar to me. Not unfortunately. Yeah. Unfortunately it looks very similar to me.
He does. He does. Well, he's not dark haired like you though. He's
No.
fair skinned.
Yeah, California kid.
California kid.
Mm.
Does he ever come up here?
No, I go down there, it's a lot easier. I have work in California, as everyone knows, and I have really good friends. I lived there before I moved to Canada, and it's a lot easier for me to fly there and then for me to fly him up here. And his mum would probably prefer that I go down there. She's, doesn't want
And
to
you
let...
get to go to California on a regular basis.
Exactly, yeah.
so-
She doesn't want to let Wyatt leave the country by himself yet. She's that a little bit.
That's understandable.
I think that's a very natural thing to feel about an 11-year-old child. So.
Exactly, yeah.
But anyways, we haven't had you on the podcast in quite a while.
No.
So this has been a little bit. So how you been? How's summer? You just got back from the Okanagan. How's harvest?
Harvest is done. We wrapped it up a week ago. We still, obviously, there's a lot of work to be done over the winter, which falls on Jordan and Tyler. So sorry, guys. But yeah, it was a pretty intense harvest this year. We did 60 tons of fruit, which for us is an insane amount. It's funny because commercial wineries do that in the afternoon,
Mhm.
but when you're making wine on our property with not fancy equipment, that's a huge volume for us.
Do you know who is the biggest? Like, just because you're out there often, do you know who the biggest winery is in BC? Is it
production
production-wise? Is it Mission Hill?
I would assume, I don't know for a fact, but Mission Hill,
Yeah.
Friend, like those big wineries would be the ones that I would assume would produce the most. I know Friend is making a lot of wine.
I think they're probably one of the faster growing ones over the last 5 or 10 years, but probably nowhere close to Mission Hill.
Yeah.
Well, what's Friends? Well, when's Friends?
I would think like maybe a Quails Gate or Cedar Creek would be like next
That's all.
Gray Monk or whatever.
And it depends. Yeah, I don't know. It depends on what umbrella they're under. But Friend owns a shit ton of property.
Yeah,
but
what-
Mission Hill would have to be. I mean, you know what's funny? Like, probably one of the beautiful slums in Vancouver that could answer that question. I'm willing to put my head in the sand and we have 10 acres and then we have 2 leases that are one's 6 acres and the other farmer we work with has another 10 acres. So we're just kind of focused on our backyard. I don't really pay much attention to the big producers, but
Well, we know how you feel about big producers and big corporations and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
we've talked about this in the past. But I mean, it's more in the sense of just like you're in that community, you're out there making wine. The BC wine industry has kind of gone through a tough time lately with things, and I'm just kind of curious if that's something that's like you guys monitor or you notice, like, holy crap, like like there's
just for the record.
there's purchasing.
I don't like corporate restaurants. I have no problems with Mission Hill. Mission Hill, we've talked about this at length, but as of this year, or as of 2026, they've certified organic all of their vineyards. So BC per capita is one of the largest organic growing regions in the world. I mean, we make up less than 1% of the wine's population, of the produce of wine, but Mission Hill is fully gone organic, and they allow people like us to succeed. So yeah, I have no hate on
It is pretty cool actually to see how they've kind of been leaders in the industry over the last 25 years. Which is, if we kind of consider a generation to be 25 years, that's exactly how long I've been in the industry. And from the early days, they've been super progressive.
I just hate corporate restaurants.
Yeah.
All of them?
No, not all of them.
Exactly. I mean, I think we've had conversations about that in the past about corporate restaurants and things like this. Like, I think I've kind of had to deal with that kind of mentality sometimes too, about the sense of like what their place is in our market, and what they offer. But there's some things that we've always discussed in the sense of like their buying power and how they can maybe drive out smaller mom and pops. But you feel at the end of the day that like having the big Mission Hills and those companies in the Okanagan kind of helps smaller producers like yourself? Like, or is it just kind of like a harmony? It's like they're not. Well, I guess what I'm saying is like they're not pushing you out. You're not feeling
I mean, West also Mission Hills and where people forget how big the Okanagan is.
Yeah. I mean, it's huge.
It's this wine like Mission Hills an hour and 20 minutes away from me. So like it's a little bit hour and 15, but it just seems like a different world away. Mm-hmm. They don't help us, but they bring a lot of talent to the Okanagan. I think that's the really important thing. As a buyer first or a restaurant person first, now turned into, be lucky enough to be able to make wine be around Jordan making wine. They brought in, Canada's such a young wine industry, and Mission Hill pays well, and they brought in so many young, talented winemakers from all around the world. So Canada, and the Okanagan in particular, has all this talent for the last 10 years to figure out what grows best, and all the best of the best from Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, France, and obviously other Canadians. So if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be as far as we are now with our young wine industry. So I have a lot of respect for the ones that come before us.
I wonder if it would be, similar to how corporate restaurants have brought on folks from our side of the industry, from independent restaurants, right? Like you've got your Kevin Brownlees or your Jason Yamasakis, or in the kitchen side, Marc-Andre Chouquet or Lee Cooper or Ash Kurtz, like these guys who have made the jump to go and work in a corporate restaurant. For all of the reasons why they may have chosen to do so, for their lives, their families, for whatever reason, will the same thing happen in the wine industry? Like, would someone like you or Jordan get courted to go to work at Mission Hill one day because they're doing this side project that would need somebody with your kind of approach?
Potentially.
That'd be cool.
I think it's silly, especially now that we're older and wiser, like as much as I can be on my high horse and be like, fuck corporate paychecks, I do have a child, and so does Jordan and her husband. So like, it would be nice to have a stable income at times, hence why a lot of these people that you're talking about in our restaurant world have left for that paycheck.
Most of those people didn't get on the microphone and talk shit about their prospective future employers.
No, that's true. But I mean, hey, look, those places still go every now and then.
I know. I wouldn't be surprised. You're that good.
Well, I was talking to Connor from bartender Connor from Elisa the other day. I ran into him when I was over at the Gerard Room visiting Ron Oliver on his second last shift.
we got to talk. I have notes about that.
And about that, or about him being there.
Maybe that can be like an off-mic conversation. I haven't spoke to Ron for a few weeks, so I just want to know. Anyways, I digress.
So, because I messaged you about that night. So anyways, I'm there, I run into, Connor comes by, and I haven't seen him in a long time. We start chatting, and I was asking him, like, because Max Curzon Price is there right now.
Yeah.
Because he's doing some stuff before they open up.
Yeah, like I said, I ran into Andrew last night. Before
they open up their new space. But he was basically saying, like, he's like, the talent that's working on the floor at Lisa right now is like, it's like some of the best restaurant managers and GMs in the city. Like,
well, that's like Chef Celine. I delivered wine there the other day.
James on them. James is
and Anna's there as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a star-studded team. I was delivering wine there, and David, as a joke, like my fashion, I'm late and trying to like deliver something to like 5 people, and it's staff meal pre-shift. And he was like, "Hey, we actually have a busy night. Do you want to do the door for me?" And every part of me was like, because of the team that was there, like so badly, he was joking, and I didn't realize he was like, I could probably figure that out. Like a little kid, and he's like, no, that was a joke. I'm like, oh, yeah.
I mean, that'd be a fun room for you.
That would be fun for you.
I mean, if that'd take me.
Can you name, because now that you're kind of like a bit of a free agent, is there a couple rooms in the city that you'd like to jump into right now let's say you have never worked there before.
Okay.
Because we know you've been to Dachi.
There's lots of restaurants that I'd love to
kind of like.
Yeah, I think I'll be back here sooner than you all think to be in a room again shortly.
Okay.
So.
Would you want to work at Chase Lee?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to help them out if they don't need my help, but I would. There's not a room in Vancouver that I wouldn't go and, pretend to know what I'm doing and throw some wine around. But Cheslin is one of them. I think they have a really good team. They have a lot of fun. It looks like they're having a lot of fun. I want to have fun at work. I think that's the big thing for me is watching people take their jobs very seriously, but still like realize that we're serving food and restaurants are hospitable. We're hosting a party. We should be smiling and having fun and to be honest,
it should be genuine though. Too,
yeah, and it starts with us.
That's why most people get into hospitality.
Exactly. Yeah, which is like that segue into that article that you sent us, that New York article. But I think that like it just seems like they're having a really good time, and it's fun to watch people that have had really intense positions in other restaurants come into a space and kind of get the shackles taken off and get to be like, I'm just here to sell wine to tables because my buddy opened this restaurant. And I think that's really cool. And seeing Anna and Jayton in that room and the rest of their team are incredible. So yeah. But I mean, there's so many, all the restaurants that we frequent, I would love to work with. Like I just had a tasting with Gary's, and that's a really cute little room. And I think Bailey and Matt are doing an amazing job. And Anna is doing the wine program there is great, so it'd be fun to work in that room. I love St. Lawrence, which I've said so many times, Como, like I think I always have such a good time. There's not a restaurant that I was like, no, I wouldn't work there.
Well, it's interesting when you think about that, because I've been messaging with Margot, who's one of the co-owners and chefs at Chez Celine, about starting the Pork Chop series. So I'm going to be meeting her soon, her and JC.
Yeah, she's the best.
And and it was so funny because like I messaged her and I was like, hey, by the way, I want to kind of like dig into this, and you guys are one of the restaurants that I want to speak to about this Pork Chop series and like looking into it. And obviously I know yours is so awesome. And she responds back and she goes, oh, I know, Jamie. I think everyone in the city knows how much you love pork chops. Yeah. And she's like, but we'd be delighted to have you come in and talk about it. And but I've heard so many people talking about it, especially from JC, and hearing him saying like what they wanted to cultivate there was just like a fun vibe. They didn't want it to feel like kind of bogged down by certain things, and they just wanted it to be like people to just go there and have a really delicious food and a really fun atmosphere. And I've been there a couple times where I've heard like them pump up, Britney Spears and dancing music, and it's like kind of not what you'd expect.
The soundtrack is wild.
It's wild, but it's not what you'd expect. But it's like
insane.
But it's super. But then like
it reminds me of Valve early days actually, when like Tanis would play like the Grease musical soundtrack. It's like, dude, it was like not at all what you would expect going into this like beautifully, thoughtfully designed room that's putting out gorgeous food, and yet like there's this super playful, irreverent soundtrack going on.
So why would they stop that then?
But they don't. I mean, it's the playlist. I'm obviously very biased, as everyone knows, and me and Tia are very close still. I use her playlist, or like I get to do a lot of consulting and work in lots of restaurants, and like we have share playlists together on Spotify, but I use her playlist all the time.
She's got great taste.
Music to her is really important. Music and lighting, like it should be in anyone's restaurant, but she's so good at knowing like reading the room and knowing the vibe. And what she names her playlist, I won't talk about publicly because it's really funny, but it's cool. Like the playlist that she wants at certain times, if anyone who's ever worked with Tanis will realize that they know what I'm talking about. Her names, their playlists are really fun.
Okay, this sounds like something I have to talk to Tanis about.
I don't think I can say.
Well, it's interesting that you say like, why did she change it? Because at some point, I mean, let's remember like Balbay. We're talking about 15 years ago when it opened. It's been open a long time. Like it's an institution. And at some point, you adapt slowly. I like to think that it's not about losing your initial energy for it, but like you just become a different kind of restaurant. Like you focus on something new, and then, as they say in visual art, like the audience completes the piece. And so if the demographic that's coming in doesn't necessarily want to hear something that's irreverent, and you have some business decisions to make as well, inevitably there is some shift, there is some compromise sometimes.
Yeah, the clientele changes and you change the music, Like in the tasting room, we have a tiny tasting room, but like obviously if 5-6 year olds walk in, if I'm listening to like 90s R&B music, and probably change it to Australian surf rock. And I don't know whether that's a good or bad thing, but like if it's, you try and make everyone feel comfortable.
And I'll take a little King Giz any day. So, but I mean, okay, so
people also are allowed to change, right? Like 15 years ago, Tanis in her early 30s is going to listen to a different kind of music than she wants to play for her guests now.
But I mean, okay, so when I was working at Chill Winston, Sonia Buzzy and Jordan Stewart, when they first started there in 2006, they were like, this place is just supposed to be really hip and fun and kind of like that type of spot. And I remember as the years went on, they got flack for becoming more and more corporate and feeling more and more corporate. And Sonia went up to us, she's like, well, that's just kind of the inevitability of a restaurant that's growing and getting bigger and sales are higher and there's more responsibilities and there's more things like this. And there's also more pressure. More pressure to like kind of like you come in, you don't know what you're doing. I don't know if you guys felt that way when you guys open up Wildebeest, but it's like you open up Wildebeest, it's like it's your baby as Gooseneck, and I mean it's not your first restaurant for neither of you, but eventually as you've grown Gooseneck into a bigger thing, and you've got 6 restaurants, there's certain systems you have to put into place that you need to make sure that you manage in teams like this. So it's like, it's like balancing, and I'm sure you work on this all the time, it's like balancing that ability to maintain kind of that youthful energy of why people love that place in the first place, to not losing that bogged down because of systems and, like maybe in the first year you were like more involved, and eventually as you move on, you get 6 restaurants, you're maybe not as touching the floor as much. So it's like,
you still kind of influence those like things like lighting and music and what defines your brand of hospitality, but yeah, it does shift.
Yeah.
But also that is the difference between what we talk about independent restaurants and corporate restaurants. We're trying to stay away from that homogenized kind of idea where you hire a consultant to come in and do the music programming for you based on statistics and demographics. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do that. I want it to be an expression of who I am and who the people that I get to work with are. And that's just not the way that a corporate restaurant generally works. It's more leading from behind, I think.
Well, I mean, of the 3 buffaloes, do you guys try to make sure that all 3 feel different?
Well, yeah. I mean, they were designed very differently, right? The
original, like the style, the energy, like
definitely, yeah.
So you have 3 different playlists for each location.
There are some similarities, but yeah, actually, we do. Yeah.
It's just fucking
you trying to fucking catch me out there?
Well, I mean, at the hotel, we just canceled our contract with Seagull Entertainment. In the hotel, Seagull Entertainment was one who booked. They booked all our music and they benefited, but they did our playlist.
For like your live music.
For our live music and everything. They got rid of it. The hotel was just like, we're not doing it anymore.
No more live music?
No, we have no. Live music's still there, but we took one of our musicians who'd been with the hotel basically since open, hired him to kind of take over the music playlist and the platform and the artists and bringing stuff is because he's more in touch with
this. It's more personal.
And exactly. And what has happened is he's changed our music soundtrack that is played all over the hotel and made it more personal, more nuanced, instead of just like, okay, these are the songs that are hitting on Spotify random playlist.
Yeah.
And I've had so many guests say like your music is immeasurably better because it feels curated.
It feels better, yeah.
And it feels like a natural. And what's funny is he's like.
It's a real art. Like a really good friend of mine in LA who works at Thunderbolt. I use a lot of his playlists as well.
You steal them?
Yeah, I don't steal. He knows. There's no theft. It's again, he shares playlists that I will use in certain situations. But I'm one of those people that I need to listen to music even while you're fucking around with your stupid laptop. Like I put music on for me and Jimmy.
Good music.
You play it with your keys.
Yeah, who is a fucking goddess? So you watch your mouth. Yeah.
That was the psych rock Jimmy coming out. Sorry. If anybody likes Lisa.
But you know what? I don't like sitting in silence personally. Like it's just not for me.
Are you scared to be alone with your thoughts?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I really am.
That's a big thing right now, right? There's a lot of literature coming out there right now about that. About the fact that there's a lot of things going on right now where people are like, it's a thing where people can't be with themselves in the brains, and they can't, like, they're so used to like whenever you have like a moment or you're going up in an elevator, they just immediately phone. And I've found myself doing that before, but it's like that's a thing nowadays in society.
I can sit and stare at the ocean all day long, without any music. Yeah. But in just ambient spaces, I like there to be music.
No, and I think there's prime example, like I bike to work, I'm listening to music, I'm listening to podcasts, but it's just recognizing that like there's, Bill Simmons and those guys were talking about this recently on this podcast, and they were doing this rituals thing, and they're talking about like how the difference between young filmmakers nowadays and back in the 1990s when like Tarantino's coming up, is they're basically saying that like a Tarantino had way more empty space in his life to be creative and think about things, whereas nowadays it's like kids are like, on video games, or I'm media on TikTok or on Instagram, or like, and so. I can attest to this because as a writer, and when I want to write column ideas, all my best column ideas always come when I'm not doing anything else. I'm just thinking, I'm at work, or I'm like just my mind is open to thinking about things, and I'm not distracted, and then I come up with ideas.
I've definitely caught myself like I love watching sport. I watch a lot of sports, and on Sunday, if I'm not working, I'll like watch football all day. And games I don't care about, then I'm on my phone checking like messages or emails, and I've really like made a practice to, if I'm going to sit down and watch a TV show or a sports game or anything, that I put my phone away, and then I'm like present in the one thing that I'm doing that's a screen, rather than have four screens at once trying to do like three things.
Well, yeah, I mean that's
because otherwise
multiple screen is like even worse. But I think the point though is like, can we just be alone with our thoughts? You know, the privilege of just being bored. And that's just not something that like is
we have. And
we don't. And like,
what are your sons like?
Well, my kids grew up in a generation where they had phones by the time they were starting high school.
Yeah, and Wyatt's the same. He's had a phone, or not.
But, okay, like some kids have it way earlier, which obviously there's a ton of science now that explains how unhealthy that is. But if you're getting your phone like most kids do by the start of high school, then you're constantly inundated, and there's always that quick loop kind of stimulus that's going on. So nobody really gets the benefit of being alone in their thoughts, being bored, and allowing that creativity. You talk about somebody like Quentin Tarantino type, a musician, a writer, filmmaker, a visual artist, like whatever it is, you need to get to know yourself in that way and feel comfortable with yourself, to be able to allow yourself to become a vessel of inspiration and creativity. And if you can't do that, then because you're inundated with stimulus, then we're going to see a significant drop in the kind of human creative contribution that we're used to seeing.
Originality,
yeah.
creativity, I think.
Yeah. Here's one thing that I don't know if you guys have ever done this. I've never actually gone to a restaurant, like kind of just sat down at a bar by myself, and just sat there. And like just kind of like had dinner and like, but it'd be kind of interesting to do it nowadays. But it'd be kind of interesting to do it nowadays just without a phone.
I do that all the time.
Well, you don't have a phone with people.
Yeah, because I'm so fucking bad with getting my phone charged. So this happened to me like 4 days ago. I was at the pub in Sumner. I know everybody there, but finished work, roll in, and I realized I left my phone at the winery because I was like just wanted to get dinner, and I just sat at the pub. And I love like living in smaller communities. It's a little bit easier because people recognize you and they know who you are, because there's only 1,000 or 10,000 people in this little town.
Do you not know who James Iranzad is? Everyone knows him.
I mean, he's old enough that everyone should fucking know who he is.
Jesus, what are we doing here? We're talking about Summerland, for God's sake.
3 months to 50.
That is wild.
Oh,
yeah, you're gonna have it at Balvea. I'll be the GM again. I won't be the GM there, but I'll work the dinner there.
I feel like
you had to do 40.
My 50th birthday just somehow inadvertently hijacked this conversation. Like, let's get back to what you're saying.
But yeah, I mean, I travel a lot, as everyone knows, and a lot of the times I will not have a charged phone and be unorganized, and I like to talk to people. So I still really enjoy going out by myself and being forced to engage. And I think, and I enjoy that. And I said this the other day when I started traveling, when I was like very young, when I left Oz, and we had cell phones, but smartphones weren't really a thing. So when you're at the airport was fun. I used to enjoy going to the airport because people were like, where are you traveling to?
Yeah.
And everyone could afford headphones, and everyone had the whole headphones and pajama thing. Like you'd sit at the bar, even sitting at your gate, you would like, be like, hey, like, where are you going?
Chat with people.
And that just doesn't, like now, people, like, it's my pet peeve is when I see someone at a checkout or at the bar or like going grocery shopping or like getting coffee and they have headphones in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, just fucking take them out for like that. How rude is that, no?
Well,
like, just take the headphones out for that one interaction with the person.
For the interaction, for sure. But we've all gone inward, over the last like half generation, and certainly since COVID, even more so. And it's a point that I'm going to bring up when we have this discussion about the third-party delivery and about being inward and ordering in and so on and so forth. But it's I don't know. Honestly, I think it's a really scary kind of evolution that we're seeing amongst kind of society. But anyway, I do think that and just a tip too. I mean, whatever. I'm not one to give parenting advice, but I mean, Wyatt's 11. And
he does have a phone, sorry, but he's
my
been
point
around
though
the
was
mentality
like
his
just to
whole life.
set the example for him. Like when I go to the grocery store with my kids, even though sometimes it doesn't feel natural for me to do so, I just chat with people.
Yeah.
I ask them, hey, what kind of dog is that? Like, how's your day? On. Because I think it's really important to normalize that for kids. Otherwise, again, it just becomes so insular and
because they don't think it's normal, which is so what. I just had a really nice conversation with one of your neighbors in the elevator on the way up here. And it made me like the elevator test. I think I've said on the podcast before, when I first moved to Vancouver, that's how I know how friendly a city is. And no one would ever talk to me in an elevator ever here. And it was really nice to walk in to an elevator. It's disgusting outside right now. Yeah. And we're both like, it's fucking gross out there. And she's like, yeah. And then we had a nice little, like, I don't know, from ground floor to floor 5 conversation. And I miss that. We need more of that in the world.
I feel bad for anyone who has to engage with you two in public. Just say randomly,
shut the fuck up.
Yeah, sometimes you need to.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, I forgot. You guys are the sappy ones here. You guys also love. It's all good.
Should we talk about why we came here to talk?
Well, yeah, it's true. It's nice. Let's catch up. We haven't had this in a little while, so it's good. We haven't actually. Me and Jimmy over here have been missing you, even though you've been.
I know. I've just been.
You've been ripping us for not going to see you. So
I know. It's just been. I haven't traveled very much. I mean, I've gone to California, obviously, to see the little guy, and I've been here for like a day at a time. But normally, I'm like 2 weeks at the farm and a week on the road. And this year, I've just spent the whole time at the farm, and now I'm going to be mostly on the coast. And so yeah, I'm going over to Salt Spring this weekend to start work.
With Mikey?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, everyone go to Cassette Cafe and Dive Bar. Always, but I'll be there from
Is that a full name?
Yeah.
I don't know if you're allowed to call a dive bar in the name of the bar.
Yeah, well, I mean, just take it up with the owner, Mike.
I will.
Are you there for how long?
I'll be there for a little while, yeah. I'll be there. I'll be based there for the next couple of months.
Couple months?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, if anyone needs a job and wants to come over to Salt Spring, we're trying to gear up for some change and for a big summer ahead.
Perfect.
I won't be there for the summer, but I mean, I'll be involved hopefully for the foreseeable future.
Okay, a couple things here I wanted to get you guys together. We're going to run through a couple of things here. I sent you guys a couple columns to read. You actually did your homework today, which is good.
Well, we read different articles, but yeah.
We read most.
Between the two of us, we've done our homework.
You've done your homework. First thing, I just want to touch on this briefly. Thoughts on how the strike ended, the BCLDB strike.
I have no comment.
Mostly in the sense of this is something maybe I just want to get off my chest. Yeah. I think the government needs to carve out some sort of exemption for the hospitality industry the next time they have a strike like this, in the sense of saying, hey, you know what, you BCGU strikers, you guys want to exercise your power of holding the government to account and coming to the bargaining table, and if you feel that you need to close down liquor stores, that's totally fine. I'm all supportive of you guys exercising your bargaining rights. However, I think the hospitality industry, because of the amount of businesses, up to 10,000 and up to 200,000 employees that are major delivery centers like Store 100, should remain open during that. It's just more like.
And you think that needs to come from the government side?
Well, I just think that needs to be like a mandate. Prime example, I'd say like this: if doctors and nurses decided to go on strike, they don't just shut down hospitals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
we employ too many people to be affected by. I'm not saying it's a small number, but it really did cripple a lot of businesses and a lot of people's livelihoods. And I think that there's kind of a give and take. Like, hey, we're supporting. You can shut down all the stores. The general public can't go, but at least the restaurants can still survive.
But they didn't shut down all the stores because in smaller communities, again.
Well, at one point they did shut down.
No, they didn't. A BCL was an essential service. So in Tofino, for example.
Well, how is it there was nothing open?
No, I'm sorry. I'm going to just chime in on this as well too. Like every single store in Vancouver, and within driving distance of Vancouver was closed after a certain while. Well, I can tell you for a fact that is the case. Every government LDB store after the first 3 weeks
the one
closed down completely.
Essential service.
No, I believe that. But you guys don't have necessarily a private store up there.
No, there's no. That's what I mean. Well,
and even still, the whole argument of the essential service, which was established during COVID, that really didn't seem to have any legs in Vancouver after the first few weeks of the strike. And I know that for a fact because there was one particular day where the only available store within driving distance that was supposedly open was in Squamish. And we actually went up there to get stuff that we needed, and it was closed. And so every single store was closed. And so, anyway, so poorly handled, poorly communicated, whatever. And
So
at the
just
end
get
of the day,
3%, which is kind of annoying because that's...
well, I mean, honestly, like, who's doing the negotiating? Like, if you've got one side asking for 2% and the other one's asking for 4%,
what's the middle ground?
And you have a 9-week strike during which strike pay, strike pay is depleted for the union workers. Approximately $250 million is lost for the economy of a province that is deeply in debt and has a growing deficit. And then, obviously, like immeasurable damage done to multiple businesses. It's a lot more than 200,000 people that work in hospitality, especially when you consider the kind of affiliated population as well, like the wine agencies that weren't able to generate a penny of revenue during that 9 weeks of time, or anybody that's kind of like adjacent to our industry. So, yeah. Super frustrating and disappointing.
Do you not think that that's something they should carve out?
Yeah, I just don't know which side it should come from necessarily. Like, I mean, it's not really the government's position to say to the union what they should or shouldn't do. Honestly,
no, but
like if the union's asking for the support of hospitality workers, then putting their foot on the throat of hospitality workers while they're asking for that support is a little bit disingenuous to me.
But I mean, like, if all doctors and nurses in this province decided to go on strike, they legally can't do that. So that's mandated by something. That's mandated by who? Government?
Yes.
So then the government needs to step in and say, you guys can't actually shut down
that's
the store.
I mean, I thought that was the case because in smaller communities and there's only one store, I was told that they're all open.
Okay.
That they legally had to be.
So what was open in the Okanagan?
What's that? I
Was there anything
don't
in
shop at the BCLs. I don't shop at BCLs because I should.
Anyways, I'm just saying, like, it just
for me,
started to cripple a lot of restaurants.
For me personally, because I'm again like when the strike happened, obviously during the summer months I don't work in restaurants. I'm focused at the farm, so like, that's why I don't really have a comment because it didn't affect me in my world, which I know affected a lot of my friends. Like a lot of my friends, you know, yourself included, call me to be like, hey, how do we get booze, or if you're coming back and forth? Because a lot of people asked me to bring alcohol from the Okanagan to them because there was private stores that had tequila or no one could get Jameson. There was Jameson in the Okanagan, it really affected a lot of people in my world. But it wasn't. I was in the middle of harvest doing our largest production ever, so I wasn't going to BCOs.
But I mean, at the hotel, I mean, we were like scraping the barrel. Like, we had maybe another week, and maybe a week, 2 weeks, and we would have figured out. We were like almost.
Also, right. I think I just want to say I do appreciate your point, and I think that it would be.
I don't think that's wrong.
I think it would be a great act of solidarity on the part of the BCGEU to be like, okay, listen, we're going to strike, we're going to get our point across or whatever. Hopefully it doesn't even come to that. Hopefully just like we can just have some good mediation and just sit down and come to a reasonable agreement a little bit faster without all this gamesmanship. But if it has to come to that, then sure, strike, but don't, I guess just don't include hospitality. Yeah. Fulfill and complete the orders for
you can check your stores down
for licensees.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean that's
and I think that's a nice middle ground.
Yeah.
Because then here's the thing, you'll still get our support.
Exactly. And it does seem weird. I mean, the system's broken. The BCL system, in my opinion, in Canada, with all the government stores in each province, the fact that I can't sell wine to Alberta without an importer or Montreal, and I think the whole thing's fucking broken in my opinion. But if they're forcing restaurants and licensees, so people that are buying alcohol at a wholesale price to order through one channel, they can't shut that one channel down. Yeah. They can so I agree with that personally. Like you can shut down like the store itself for like the general public, but you can't shut down because we don't have another option. Because technically it's against the law to go to Marquee or Legacy or Liberty and buy something off the shelf to then sell at your restaurant. Mm-hmm. So you're forcing people to break the law because it's their livelihood. Mm-hmm. And we all know that selling night out, again, as somebody who makes night out, selling night out in a restaurant isn't paying the bills. Selling a bottle of tequila in a restaurant is paying the bills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyways, that's just kind of my last 2 cents on that whole thing. So we can move on from that. So conversation deep dives. I you didn't get a chance to read the New York Times article.
Yeah, I did.
You did? Yeah. Okay. So there was this, they did this interesting feature in the New York Times recently, which I'll link in the notes, where there was this young woman who wanted to open up her own restaurant in kind of like right down in New York City. And she was like, and they followed her through the step-by-step process. And it was just this whole thing of like how she went through it and like, just kind of like she ended up raising found a partner. She ended up raising like $198,000 for her business, something like that.
Yeah,
and then they go, huh?
I did read this.
You did read this. So they end up going through the whole process of it, and like they're like, okay, they're looking for leases, they're looking for things. And what I found, which was super interesting about this whole experience, I'm just gonna pull it up here, was I wanted to know what you guys thought about this, especially for yourself. I mean, you've opened restaurants as well. You just recently did that, but kind of what it was like to kind of like read that and then see it and kind of go, oh my God. Like, what were your initial thoughts? First of all, what are your initial thoughts about
you go ahead, Jimmy, is
about
just
trying
about
to open a restaurant in Manhattan for $180,000?
No, but like kind of like
yeah, that was my initial thought. I mean,
also more than such like kind of like what would you say about this whole experience to like
the numbers
would-be restaurateurs in this city or people that are like kind of like, or would you like a lot of the things about it, she's like, they've never cooked in a restaurant. They don't even know what their menu was. Like, it's just like,
that's
I thought
also
it was,
why. Like, her partner had, her now chef and business partner had owned a cafe. And
yeah,
was cooking
but I mean,
fresh.
they came up with their menu with their grandmother. And like,
yeah, I know. But the amount of people, I mean, like, I just had a very similar experience in Victoria. Like, Sydney had never opened a restaurant.
I guess my question is I guess, when, as people who've been in this industry as long as they have, what are your thoughts when you see this kind of experience of someone really trying to just follow the passion? Like, are you kind of like, are you kind of dumbfounded by some of the rookie mistakes they make? Or are you kind of like, I don't know. For me, I just thought it was an interesting thing to see about how I'm always fascinated that people want to jump into this industry when they have no experience in doing it.
Because it's a fun.
But why is it so exciting for people to do it?
You know, no one wants to be a fucking dentist. You know.
But why do they want to be a restaurateur?
Because you're throwing a party every night. People love to be around humans. That's what we realized during the pandemic. It is fun to go to the busiest restaurant in town to be like, oh yeah, that's mine. Like that vibe and seeing that energy in their room. Like people love being around people. They love hosting a party. They enjoy a good vibe. That's why we go to live shows. Being in a restaurant is entertainment.
But
we work in the entertainment industry.
But I wouldn't wake up tomorrow and be like, you know what? I want to be like Radiohead. So I'm just going to start.
Well, you are the 1%. Because most people that love music would be like, if they could be Radiohead, they'd want to be Radiohead.
Of course, yeah. But I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and be like, I'm going to start a band with 5
exactly. So like you can't be like a lot of people like can't be Brad Pitt, but you know what's attainable is a fucking restaurant because it's just money.
Is it attainable?
In their world, it is because it's just money. It's it's way more attainable than being Brad Pitt. You know, so they're like.
I think the Radiohead analogy is a bit flawed, right? Like, I mean, there's there's like thousands of restaurants in Vancouver. There's, I'm sure, whatever, millions in the world. Like, people feel like that's something that they can do. They feel like it's accessible. Like, maybe that's misguided, but at the very least, they want that and they feel like it's something that they can achieve. Whereas somebody can pretty quickly come face to face with the fact that they may not have the musical or acting ability to, reach some level of like celebrity that they're craving. In that regard,
But when you read it, did you laugh at it? Did you like it? Were you kind of empathetic?
I get it though, because we've all seen it before, right? People, like, as James says, want to be the host of that amazing party. They want to be, they're intoxicated by the magic of restaurants because they've been to ones that they love and they just want to try and create their own expression of it, their own version of it. And I kind of applaud that. I think it's great. And I cringe a little bit because I think that most people don't realize how unbelievably difficult it is and what a broad skill set you actually need to have to be able to pull it off. And so I don't want them to like jeopardize their livelihood and their money, to do that. But I know where the feeling comes from because, I felt it myself once. Well, I still do, but back when I started 25 years ago, that's what got me into it.
Because you didn't have restaurant experience, right?
I had zero restaurant experience, and so when I started, yeah.
And to piggyback on Jimmy's comments, like I cringe because it's scary when someone has a stable full-time job and then puts their life savings and also like the number of 200 grand open a restaurant is impossible. So like that's a moot point, but put whatever money they did to like put, took a huge risk to the point where her mum was like, don't do this, please don't do this, and did it anyway. And especially when you're like in your mid-30s, it's a scary thing to do when you have a proven career and one of the most, like, the pandemic wasn't long ago and it fucked New York completely, completely. So it makes me feel cautious at first reading it, but at the same time, if it's not like, we can't just keep doing things with operators that have been doing it for 20 years, because then or 50 years like old mate over here, because then things get stale and stagnant. We need that new life, that new, like, they had no, like, the decisions that her and her business partner made, we would never make. That doesn't mean that.
What were some of the decisions you were like, oh my god?
That doesn't mean that doesn't mean that they're wrong and we're right. That just means like we know a different path because we've gone through a different path. But sometimes you need the 18-year-old dishwasher to be like, hey, why don't you put the plates there? I'm like, that's a fucking great idea. I was shown how to do it this way, and that always worked. And so I think that's really special when you have someone that comes from that doesn't come from the industry to take this huge risk to deliver a service. It teaches us things and the public things. So I applaud them, you know, and I don't think there was, apart from the fact that I'm like, it's scary because, you know, 95% of restaurants fail and the average profit margin is 4.5% in Canada, which is fuck all really when you consider when you go to a bank to be like, I'm borrowing $2 million. They're like, that's stupid. So like, it made me feel sick in my stomach, but it also like what they were saying and what, like she was trying to do something, she was unhappy in her career and found a way to express how she fits into that neighborhood in Brooklyn and brought her whole family involved, and both partners built the restaurant, and that sense of pride. And I want to go eat at that restaurant because you can tell that it wasn't someone who just paid a lot of consultants or paid all this money. They built it themselves. It had a mum saris. It was like amazing different ethnic food. People, they wanted to bring something different, and they were doing service from 8 a.m. until 11 p.m. And I think that's very ambitious, and most people would tell them not to do that, but they wanted to because they had to, and I love that. If anything, you want to get you there and be like, hey, good job.
No, I mean, like I wasn't like, as I was reading it, which I thought was interesting, I was really kind of curious about them succeeding because they seem really genuine and sweet.
Yeah, they clearly love. I think
I was just like in my mind, I was like, I wonder what it's like for so many restaurateurs, because this is New York Times. This is going to be read by millions of restaurateurs and people working in the industry.
And that restaurant that article will be busy for us.
Oh, probably. And I just wonder what it's like for them, for anyone to read this who've been in the industry for a long time, like, whoa, and just kind of like be somewhat in shock of it.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off. I'm sorry.
But it kind of been somewhat in shock and awe, kind of like, oh, I can't believe they did that. $200,000, that's nothing, especially in our city. And I mean, even in New York City, $200,000 to open a restaurant is like almost what sounds insane.
I don't believe it for a second. Anyways, but that's
yeah.
Cool.
I really want to go to her second restaurant.
She hasn't opened it yet.
I know, but like when she does, and I hope that she has enough success with her first. And you know, she's obviously very driven and with the exposure that she's a bigger part, yeah. But with the exposure they're gonna get from this article, and New York being New York, and New York's a pretty special place right now. I think that what she's gonna learn, combined with that's the raw energy of the sophomore album, basically is what we're talking about. Is the best. I think that's to tie it all in together. Like that to me is sometimes like the best work of a creative person in these fields.
So this is their Pablo Honey. This is their album that radio doesn't play anymore.
They're the bands.
No, the band's the second restaurant.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The first is the Pablo Honey.
Yeah.
And so what is
right now? It's like
what's their creep single? Which
it's I don't know. It's probably
is it probably the New York Times article?
Yeah. Well, or what is the dish that they're known for? Like who knows?
I think a good follow-up interview would be with the partners. Like these two people decided that they were going to change their life dramatically and invest in this new lifestyle, and then they're both married, I believe, or they have long-term partners.
Yeah, they both have long-term partners.
And they both have very different. They both have very different. They don't work in hospitality at all. Had very different jobs, and one was a stand-up comedian, one's a musician. And they built the restaurant essentially for them or with them, and painted the restaurant. That's the thing. I would like to talk to the. How did you find the fact that your partner came home and was like, I'm just gonna fucking put my life savings into a restaurant that I need you to build and paint, and because we bring our work home with us all the time. We know that. I mean, a lot of people do, but when you work construction 9 to 5, or if someone works in IT that I can't relate to, we can't really talk about their IT stresses. But when you come to a restaurant and be like, somebody broke in and shat on the floor, everyone can relate to that because
I know that happened to them.
Yeah, it's that. I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be interesting to talk to how they feel about how the restaurant's going and how it's done since they've built it and now it's open.
Well, and what I really liked about it is the fact that they literally, I mean, for Scout Magazine, Michelle and Andrew had been doing this for years, where they do the opening soons and they take you through kind of the process. And they kind of give you the players, what's going on, what's the ambition, what's the idea, what's the concept, what's the food, what's the drinks. And they give you just all that stuff, and they've always done that. And that's actually something people really love, and that's why I was really intrigued in reading this piece. But what I liked about it is they really kind of detailed, it looks like the writer followed them as the journey, and was like, today they're actually like the two boyfriends are having to paint the place and build the bar because like they had no money to do it again. And I guarantee there's a lot of people in this city in Vancouver who've kind of or have built restaurants along that same kind of we've had no money, we had to do it on our.
Stephen and Miki are great examples. Like they build most of their own restaurants. Niwa was the first restaurant that they've ever gotten designed like by an actual designer.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else, and they did a lot of the manual labor themselves. They do a lot of the labor themselves, and
that's a great way to save money.
And then the other side of things are like the Kisatantos and Mios, where you're not doing that work. Although Joel is very handy, but you're running other restaurants. You're not building shit. You're running your businesses. Whereas Stephen and Miki are it's pretty incredible how much hands-on building they do in their spaces.
Well, I mean, yeah. So
but they also don't have the backing that bigger restaurants that have won Michelin stars or are more popular in the ether of the world is with financial backing. So
you still don't think they only did it for $200,000? You think they had more money?
The New York restaurant?
Yeah. Impossible?
There's I'd bet my left testicle, which is my favorite. So there's no way.
I think the only way that you could kind of do something like that is if you were.
The rent was $4,000. They said the cheapest rent they could find is $4,000 a month. They kept. It says in the article that they pushed back the opening date, which we all know
July 15th it was.
All the time. So they already got like $40,000 in rent out of your.
Well, they may have gotten some free rent or fixturing period out of it. It's possible.
Yeah,
it's also possible that maybe they got incredibly fortunate to go and like just get a kitted out restaurant that had failed.
Which they didn't, because that in the article they had options.
They had to go and
they took the one that was basically they had to build the whole thing.
With no kitchen. This is impossible. No.
All right. Well, okay.
They may have only put $200,000 of their own money in, but I'm sure they had a huge bank loan. Or they put $200,000 down in the bank and a bunch of money. There's no way. How you can't. It's how many? That restaurant was like a 38-seat restaurant.
How much do you know? How much was it cost to open Rabbi Oven?
I'm not.
Can you give me a ballpark?
No, I can't talk about anyone else's money. Sorry. I know exactly what it cost to open Kisatanto. I know exactly what it cost.
Yeah, I know.
And by the way, restaurants are so much more expensive to open now since Kisatanto opened, as an example.
Okay, so
also not less lots of restaurants in the city that opened recently. I know one that again I don't feel like at liberty to say that opened recently that was a very similar vein of what Kisatanto is, and it was 80% more than what it cost KT to open, and that was
June.
No.
Oh. Okay, Max Personal Price and Andrew are going to be opening up
Supernova. Yeah, very excited.
Yeah, I think they're just looking for spaces.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're going to need a good amount of money for that too. I mean, that's.
Yeah. I had a conversation. Funny, I had a conversation with Andrew last night.
I'm so excited for them.
And yeah, I just sat next to me and Jonathan King, or a friend of mine who is very heavily involved in the winery in Pamplemousse. We just sat down at Oka or at Magari, but next to Andrew, and he had just finished working at Nomo, the new izakaya.
I've been. It's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really good.
It was really busy when we walked past.
I tried their pork chop.
Well, of course. And we were just chatting with him about the new space and what they're looking for, and he was really honest and open about his experience to date and the money that they have, the investment that they have and what they're trying to do. And I thought it was really nice to hear someone speak so candidly about what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I
know that their budget is a lot more than what the New York budget was.
I hope it is. But I mean, those guys are awesome. What I love is you can feel the passion for them, their creativity. They seem really excited.
I think Vancouver, we've talked about this at length as well, because we what is a bar in Vancouver? I think the more people that want to open a cool bar is really exciting. And when you lose places like the Diamond, it is really fun to see like more bars opening in the city, because Vancouver is always known as a no fun city. We have a great food program, amazing talented chefs, but there's not a lot of late night drinking holes here, and I'm glad that we have another one that's going to add to the list of short bars that I can never name 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm excited. It's going to be good. Those guys are going to do really well. Eater 38 was dropped recently for the Vancouver edition, dropped on October 10th, written by Nikki Bailey, who's a very prominent journalist here in Vancouver. She's been doing it for Eater for quite a while now. I think she does it once every 6 months. I sent that to you guys as well. I was just glancing over it. And one of the things I was just kind of curious about was, how would you rate your Eater 38? Jimmy said something. He told me, he kind of gave me an idea of what he would do. I'm just kind of curious what you guys would do in the sense of like, if you were tasked with writing an Eater 38 for Vancouver, how would you approach it and what would you want to put on there? Like what's...
James?
I still don't love the number. I don't know where Eater came up with this arbitrary number for 38, and certainly because they apply it to cities of all sizes. Like, how do you do Eater 38 for Oklahoma City and then do the same number for Manhattan? Is like, it's a bit, I don't know, it doesn't work for me. So I would have to have some different parameters, but I don't know. I'm probably going to do what we talked about.
No, well, let's say you had to do an Eater 38.
Right. Okay. So
So you're looking at Eater 38. Your Eater calls you. They go, James Iranzad, you know the city well. You're prominent. You're a restaurateur. How would you approach doing it? Because there's several ways you could do it. You could go, I'm going to pick my favorite restaurants. I mean, we kind of did this last year when we picked our top 15.
Yeah.
But we each had different parameters and different ideas for our top 15. I just did the restaurants I like going to the most. But you could pick. You could also go, I'm just going to pick the 38 best restaurants. You could pick the 38 most expensive restaurants.
Yeah, but define like everyone's opinions are different. Like,
well, that's what, no, you're the one, right?
Yeah, so, no. So, do you think do either of you know Nikki Bailey at all?
I don't know her actually. I think I met her once.
I know her well.
Yeah, I know her really well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's a smart woman, and she's been in this industry for a long time.
I like her list.
And it was in the Okanagan for quite a while, and now she's back in Vancouver. Like, she eats everywhere, and it's very well connected to the pulse. I'll be curious to ask her if she has any because they may be like, hey, we want you to include restaurants from Michelin category to fast casual to takeout to I'll be curious to see if they give her some structure and rules, or if she can do whatever she wants and write whatever she wants.
I imagine she can probably do whatever she wants.
I don't think so.
No? You don't think so?
I don't know.
I think they do.
I don't know at all, but that's what I mean. I'll text Nikki after this and be like, hey, whether she'll tell. I just think if you look at the Eater 38, and if you know those cities really well, there's always, the formula to me is very similar for each one. So I think there's some restrictions on maybe the list that she has to write. But I could be completely wrong. I just have seen patterns in lists between cities that I know quite well and the different journalists.
Well, that's the thing is I think about it, it's like, okay, so when I've been traveling to the United States and I'm going to like Seattle or Portland or Austin or LA, I'll check the Eater 38. What are some of the restaurants I should check out? And they usually have a list that's pretty updated pretty consistently. But I've used it, but I've also used it, and then I've also been very disappointed with some of the choices on there. Yeah. And I've also been very surprised and very happy with a lot of choices on there. But I wonder, I'm kind of like you, I wonder if there's an agenda.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And I could be completely wrong. That's just not like me. And
so, I mean, I wonder about the agenda in the sense of like, okay, so, is there something in here, is there something in here that's, is there a certain flavor to does the writer want to say something? I mean, Jimmy, you wrote something here to me after I sent it to you. I mean, you wrote, there are some very cool selections on here, some nice surprises, some awfully glaring omissions, some desperate attempts to be cool, relevant, and a couple of shocking choices. Yeah. That was your first reaction. And I thought about it, and I think that you could probably plug any one of our names in that after that quote, and you probably would have said the same thing about us. Because I guarantee no matter what you would have written or you'd have written or I would have written, we probably would have all kind of tried to do the exact same thing.
100%.
What do you mean, why?
Well, I just wonder, because
I don't know if I agree with that.
Okay, so a better question is, because I probably would feel like, okay, I can't just pick all the cool little spots. I probably need to have some variety. But then, who am I appealing to? And so you think you would do something different.
Who are you trying to appeal to, I guess?
Well, that's the thing, right?
I mean, I would argue that a good writer or a good creative person in general, and I know like Rick Rubin would agree with me on this, would not consider the audience.
Which is right. I think that Nikki's list was, I think it was great.
I think it's actually like, this is obviously not the first time Nikki's written the Eater 38.
No,
it is the most aggressive, I think, that she's ever written the list. I think it's the most interesting. It's the most like eccentric or esoteric at the very least, you know, like of a list that she's ever written. She's got like Noah and 515 on there.
Yeah, but have you been to any of those places recently? I've been at both in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Noah and 515.
And they're great. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be on there.
They have different things and they're doing something special right
But
now.
I'm just saying,
it's cool.
I totally agree. It's more in line with what you see when you go to, I don't know, like say Portland or something and check out the Eater 38.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little bit edgier.
Those restaurants I hadn't even heard of, which to me is exciting.
It is exciting, yeah.
Like,
so I think that as far as
what's that?
No
idea. No, like there was like
Never
4 or
been.
5 restaurants I had to look them up, and I was like,
Yeah.
cool. I mean, there's a couple of restaurants I don't like on the list, but that's personal preference, you know.
She's got Coast, Odd Society Spirits. She's got the 515 bar. What's that?
Yeah, it's downtown. Christopher Flood is the bar manager there.
Chris Flood's there?
Yeah,
it's next to it's part of Malone's actually.
Yeah.
And Hannah, who worked at Kisatanza for a long time, that was at Balbay, then Alma Bar, she's also there.
Bartender Tower.
Yeah. Yeah, like there were some selections that I'd never heard of. There's some that I don't agree with, but that's like, again, that comes to my personal preference. I thought the list was the least generic of the Eater 38 list that I've read in a long time.
It's the least generic of any Eater 38 that has ever been written in Vancouver.
Which I think is
because Nikki's the only one that's ever written an Eater 38 list for Vancouver. And that's probably going back a few years now.
She's been doing it for a while now.
Yeah, so not with the same frequency as American cities.
No,
but let's say she's probably done half a dozen of them or something like that. I'm just pulling that number off of my head, but it's still the most, the most esoteric one I've seen.
Okay, so that means it sounds like you guys like what you wrote. You like the variety, you like kind of the uniqueness of it.
It made me keep reading for that.
And the range.
Now, what was if she just put stuff on there that you totally expected? Would that have bothered you? Even though you know that they deserve to be there.
Would it bother me? No.
But that would be contrived. Like, you can't have a problem.
Well, what is it? Would it be contrived in the sense? You mean contrived that you...
If there's a restaurant that should be on there,
it wouldn't bother me.
That is obviously one of the best 38 restaurants in Vancouver, then why would that bother us that it's on the list?
Well, because I mean, there's this idea that like there's restaurants that we just kind of get bored of. We take them for granted. They're like, why
we have to have that kind of objectivity?
Why not? But you're saying, but the idea that you're like, I'm not giving credence to the small little ones that we maybe no one knows. Like the one thing that I always find fascinating about this list idea is that people always go, I want to find the hidden gem. But why? There's so many great restaurants in the city. Why is it we always feel this need to? We have to be seeking out this hidden gem.
You're the wrong person because that's all I do.
I
get so many comments when we do our list about how I pick fucking random.
But why are people so enamored by this idea of the hidden gem? Like, and I thought about this idea.
You know why? It goes back to New York.
No, it's because people. No, it's because people want to be in the know. They want to feel. They want to be in the know.
I also just.
And they don't like. They want to be like, I found something that you don't know.
I think you're giving people, that's a component of it. But I think it goes back to the Times article. Is before that restaurant was written about in the New York Times, I bet you there was because they said there was these regulars and the evening service wasn't very busy, but the same couple come every week or every night. Like you find the pure expression hospitality from the hidden gems, from the places that don't get any publicity, that no one fucking talks about. They're doing it because they purely fucking love what they're doing every day and they show up for each other, and it's something so special and so infectious that that's why I do what I do for a living. And I think that drives me to find the ones that are off the beaten path. And no disrespect to the restaurants here in the city, they're very popular, but mark my words, like KT, St. Lawrence, Annalena, Burdock, and Barbara, they're not as raw as they were when they first opened, and I would much rather eat those restaurants when they opened 10 years ago, 6 years ago than I would now, because this raw ability of they're just putting the whole soul into trying to do this thing. It's like the first album.
So what you're saying right now is kind of like we should want to go to Chez Celine now before it drives.
It would still be great. It's still going to be amazing.
But you're saying you're catching a different vibe.
I think, and I personally prefer that raw, we don't really fucking know what we're doing. We're just doing the best thing that we think we can do in our four walls, and that is really special. And then you normally, when you go in such a pure way, normally people recognize it and you get attention, you win awards, you get put on route. you know, and then before you know it, then you have everyone's a critic, everyone's writing Google reviews about what you like. This is supposed to be like a hidden gem, but it was the server was rude or had a dirty accent, or there's an 80-year-old man working at the front door being Jimmy, you know, like things change and you get put under a lot of pressure, and then the vibe in the space changes, ownership changes because now the pressure's higher. So I think that's why the drive for the hidden gem is so important.
Yeah, but I also think that like the drive for the hidden gem is actually a really bad thing, because part of social media and part of the things that we've had to endure over the last 15 years because of the
Michelin started because of the hidden gem.
No.
It was like go off the fucking road.
No, but what I'm saying is like
that's not what it is anymore.
So what I'm saying is, okay, so back in 2015 when I was like traveling in the summertime and I was looking for something to do in a hot summer day, I had heard about this Joffrey Lakes up north of Penn.
Yeah, I've been in Joffrey Lakes.
And at the time, I didn't know anyone who knew about it. I went up there for a walk one day and for a hike, and I went up there. It's the Three Lakes. No one knew about it. Hadn't hit social media. When I was up there was no one up there. There was 2 people up there with me. Now supposedly Joffrey Lakes has to get shut down sometimes twice a summer because there's thousands of people, because it's been blown up because of social media, because it's no longer a hidden gem. Now it's like probably one of the busiest lakes in the city, in BC.
We're talking about 2 very different.
Well, what I'm saying is, shouldn't we? What I'm saying
coming into it, and you're talking about a beautiful thing in nature.
Well, shouldn't we keep hidden gems hidden?
No, not when it's a fucking restaurant. How do you want to?
Because it ruins it.
You're a terrible operator.
I really appreciate this like romantic outlook. That
it ruins it. You go bankrupt if you're a fucking operator. What operator doesn't want the restaurant to be busy?
But if it's a hidden gem, that means it's obviously got people there.
Does it? All year round to put their kids through fucking university?
But also the other way,
I think we're going to get back to the original point that journalists will often want to put so-called hidden gems on a list because it also reflects back on them as a purveyor of cool, you know, as somebody who can recognize and dictate what is desirable. And so there's an element of that to it, right?
Yeah, but that's.
But she's not wrong. Like 515 is cool. I liked it. It's a cool place. Like Noah's a good place. They make interesting food, and it's actually about time that places like that got some recognition. You know, so no worries about that. Like.
No, but I'm saying it's like, let's say she didn't put anything like that on here, and it was just all the places you expected. You probably would have thought it was boring.
There aren't 38 of those places, and if there are, then like you're stretching. I think.
But even still, you probably would have thought it was boring.
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
And
what does that say? Even though
they would say that nobody would then pay attention to Eater, and I think that.
So then what you're saying is she needs to put that on there.
No, I disagree with that.
I think that she's been given that task because she's trusted to actually
and she
achieve it.
And she, I know for a fact, without talking to her, but knowing her personality, she has gone to every one of those restaurants and has enjoyed them. And I know for sure that she sat at one of those bars and was like, randomly like come across it and was like, oh, people should know about this, which I think is really special. You know, like I talk at any chance I can about Gigi's and Comox. That restaurant is going to blow. I mean, they're doing very well. Like they're busy all the time, but that is one of the better restaurant experiences I've had in a long time in BC. And it's, to me, it is a little hidden gem in the Comox Valley, but it fucking shouldn't be. Like it should be. There should be a lamp there every night. It should be full every night because that place is fucking special. And we should be promoting those things.
And I'm not saying that her list is bad. I like her list. Yeah. I like everything on here. I think it's great, and I like that the fact there's a couple places on here that I don't know. Because I'm also learning something.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying how would you write it? And I think we're learning that there is.
Well, I would write it full of like I would be all the hidden gems, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that it's interesting that she's being more objective than I feel that any of the 3 of us would be capable of. The fact that she's got Coast on that list is pretty interesting to me. And I'm not talking shit about Coast. But what I'm saying is
you wouldn't expect it on there.
It's not a restaurant that anybody that works in our industry would ever put on their Eater 38.
No.
It's just not. I don't care. Like I haven't been there in years. I don't really have much curiosity about going there. But that just shows that she's looking at it from a different way, from a different perspective than any of us would. And I think that's commendable in a certain way. Like, I might not agree with it. I think it's like bizarre that she doesn't have Annalena on that list, but it's her list and she gets to write it, and people are gonna see the city for what it is, not just through the biased eyes of a highly subjective, independent restaurateur like me, or, you know.
I mean, I've talked to Michelle about this so many times with Scout, in the sense of she's wanted to bring back the Scout 25, and part of her thought process is she kind of thinks a lot like you, James, in the sense that she wants to highlight and showcase the Disciples of the world, and those places you're talking about, like the places that don't always get all the attention. And she's like, there's so many other, and I love that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I've always wondered, like, are we, the agenda that the writer is going under, is it more just like, I want to shine light to places that maybe aren't getting the attention maybe they don't always get, or is it I'm trying to show that I'm cool and I'm in the know and I know where to go and I'm hip, or is it a bit of both?
Yeah, probably a bit of both, but I don't know. I like to, maybe I'm just an optimist, I like to think that the purity of, it's not trying to, the cool fact, like I don't talk about these restaurants that people don't know about because I'm trying to be cool. I talk about them because like I said, like I fall in love with the passion when I go into that. The cool thing with me traveling so much is that no one fucking knows who I am, so it's amazing that I sit in a restaurant and watch people generally love what they do, and that to me, like, that drives me so much and it gets me so excited. So I like to think that when Nikki is talking about these restaurants that we don't really hear about all the time, she had a very similar experience than I have in a room. And maybe that's me being naive, but the cool fact, I don't give a fuck what people think I'm cool or not. Like, I want to eat, like, it's expensive to eat out, so I don't want to go eat somewhere where it's going to be like, the light's going to be too bright, the people are going to be shitty, and I don't want to be there anymore.
I think she's the right person to write the list for you.
Yeah, me too.
I think that Michelle obviously has a strong bias that's deeply connected to the publication that she created.
And so do the three of us.
And we are very strong bias. And so if you wanted to go to a city and read what a local winemaker or restaurateur loves, then you would go to like our article. But for the, like when people go to travel to major cities in North America, usually it's Eater is like the number one hit for where to go eat.
Who else?
And that's why she's the best person to write it, because she's far more objective than we are.
Who else would be fun to write it? I think would be interesting is Alexandra Gill's list.
Yeah.
Because she's made a lot of enemies in the city, rightly or wrongly, with her when she was a critic, and now she works in PR. So I'd be curious to see her 38 list.
Well, I mean, that's actually a really good segue. First off, I'm going to say one thing. I do not agree with her putting the Granville Public Market on here, by the way. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, but if you're a tourist, though, like if you're a traveler...
What tourist is not going to know about that? I deal with tourists at the hotel a lot of times. That's the first thing we tell them to do.
That's true.
That to me was, I was like, all right, that's just being lazy.
Also, I'm in Lee's Donuts is great. It's in Granville Island. So is Said Pad Thai. There's amazing, there's...
But she's not mentioning those specifically.
She just says Granville Public. I'm like, really? Yeah. The only thing you
should go, but I think I agree with Jamie. Like, nobody needs to be told to go to Granville Island.
That's
like number one place.
But if they make, so if Said Pad Thai was on there, you'd feel better?
I don't know, man. It's pretty good pad thai.
It's really good.
The chicken wings there are the best in the city, in my opinion.
I mean, their chicken wings at Bell's are pretty fucking dynamite, by the way. I've been eating those a lot lately. Quite good. You go to Bell's, you get
when Bell's starts carrying Pamplemousse, I'll order some chicken wings.
Oh yeah, they sell a lot of Pamplemousse at Stand Pad Thai, do they? Fucking asshole.
It's fair. Touche. You have 6 restaurants and not one of them carries Pamplemousse.
Not one? Oh wow. You shut them out?
Although I did drink a glass of your non-alc at Good Thief last Thursday.
Amazing.
That was really good.
Are you guys fighting? What's going on here? Why do you not care?
I mean, we're always fighting.
We're always fighting.
Yeah.
I should actually just post your guys' text message sometimes, because it's quite fucking hilarious. It's so funny. You guys will just go off and just like, I'll come back, I'll be at work, and I'll just see like a 30 messages, and I'll be like, what the hell's going on here? It's pretty hilarious. Okay, so that's good. I think we got in a sense of how we need to approach that, which is a good transition, because you just brought up something about Alexander Gill. So I sent you guys something about food content creators, and it's one of the questions I'm curious about is, are they worth embracing? And this comes from a feature that was just written for
Vancouver Sun or whatever, or the Vancouver.
Yeah, I think it was
the Sun.
Was it the Sun? Yeah, it was the Sun.
So look at me doing my homework.
Yeah, so it was the Sun.
I can't believe you can just hit a button and they'll read it to you.
Well, not all the time, but in the Atlantic you can.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pull it up right now. Here. How Vancouver content creators are transforming Vancouver's restaurant scene. And Alexander Gill's featured in this. She's interviewed. It's written by Sean Connor. And he talks about kind of like something that we're obviously not delusional or not understanding that it's present in our kind of industry. but the idea that how food content creators are now starting to shape the way restaurants do their marketing and the branding and how they're looking at this. Jimmy, I want to talk to you about this first because obviously you have 6 restaurants.
Six that don't carry Pamplemousse Jus. So if you're a Pamplemousse Jus fan, do not go to any one of these 6 restaurants because it's not there. Sorry, continue.
When you read this, first question, do you feel a sense of, to actually participate in the food creator economy in the sense of like
In the content creator economy?
yeah, like kind of working with them, bringing in influencers, or do they reach out to you? And also, do you like the way this has changed your perspective as an owner, operator? In the sense of like how you're marketed, how you're viewed, in the sense of like, I mean, I'm sure it's probably a different.
I don't think we can lump all content creators into one category.
No, I mean this podcast is a content creation, but it's associated with.
Yeah, when it comes to, I think, the restaurant side, I find that they're, like with most things, I suppose, there's an elite group that tend to do an excellent job. And food media has changed to the point that it would be impossible to open a restaurant if you're hiring PR and such, if you're going to those steps. You can't just bring in traditional print media like the Alexandra Gills of the world when she used to write or whatnot.
I didn't realize she worked in public relations now.
Well, she is now. She's in PR now. But you're telling me right now that you couldn't bring in just Fan Mag, Scout Magazine?
Wouldn't be enough.
Why not?
Nobody does it.
And
well, wait a second. Nobody does it, or it's just not enough?
Both. Nobody does it because it's not enough.
Yeah, so it just doesn't reach enough people.
And that's exactly
right. With all due respect to Scout Magazine and Van Mag, which I both enjoy, they're not bringing in enough. Like that, if Scout does opening soon and Van Mag does the same thing, it may bring in like 40 covers in 2 weeks.
Okay, so you got let's say you got Mia Stainsby doing her article for
Vancouver Sun.
Vancouver Sun. You got Van Mag, you got Michelle doing her opening soon.
Yeah.
You do that, you're part of your PR team.
Yeah. The Globe and Mail and Mia Stansby will bring in more people than Scout Magazine will. And I love Scout, and I much prefer Scout over both. But that's
what you are talking a little bit anecdotally right now. I think that, like, regardless of what the numbers are and whatnot, like those 3 publications that we're just going to touch on for a sec, like Scout and Vancouver Sun and Vancouver Magazine, like they're going to bring in a different readership
and demographic, I guess.
Yeah, they're going to bring in a different. We'll get into demographics in a minute because there's a cultural demographic as well too to be considered. But there's an age demographic, there's a socioeconomic demographic, and in terms of like old school, credible kind of media, sure, like Vancouver Magazine, Vancouver Sun, and Scout are going to bring in a completely different kind of audience, I suppose, and credibility. But that's not going to necessarily fill your seats by itself because of the way that information is consumed. And at the end of the day, like the content creators that do a really good job, that are thoughtful, that are engaged, that don't ask for money, that create good quality video content, they're the ones that have tens of thousands of viral viewers on their profiles, and that's really what's going to fill the room.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so I guess so you're saying like kind of like James Grass was talked about in this article.
Yeah,
he's running Chef's Favorite. That thing's blowing up quite well right now. People are really engaging with it. It's kind of like what we used to do at Scout, where we did the new breed, where you bring someone on and you just ask them.
Format is so fun.
It's it's light. It's light. It's easy. You just ask a person. I mean, it's light. It's easy.
I see no fault.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's like really simple.
Obviously.
It's really simple. You ask a few questions. Where do you like to go for dinner? So it's pretty chill. Would you feel, let's say you're opening up a business this year, like I said, 2 restaurants you opened last year, would you feel it necessary to reach out to someone like him and Randy and other people, like, I need to talk to these people because they're going to hit an audience that I won't be able to get outside of them?
I mean, if you want to get the word out about your new restaurant, then yeah, you're going to have to use certain online content creators. Yes.
Do you guys ever reach out to them for features?
When we opened Buffalo down in River District, what was that, about a year and a half ago? We did have PR. I mean, we're going into a new community that we've never worked in before, and it's not one that's necessarily known for having
independent restaurants.
Yeah, independent restaurants, and And so, absolutely, yeah. And when we came up with a list of media that were going to be approached with the information about the opening, there was the traditional print media, but there were also that list of the cream of the crop of the so-called influencers.
I don't really know any restaurant now that opens that doesn't do a media.
Now, I guess better question is, how do you trust what they're going to provide and offer to their audience, and also do you I guess vet them? Do you look at? Do you like the way they produce the content in the sense? And also is like, should we be embracing this more and more and encouraging it, or should we be looking at it like, there be a certain level of kind of?
I mean, you don't have a choice. It's just that's
it's
the
just
way
the way
that information is consumed these days. Absolutely. Like,
yeah, there's ones that I think that I wouldn't invite into my space. Like, if I was opening up a new restaurant, which I have done recently, or even with Pamplemousse, if someone's like, hey, I mean, for us it's funny. I get asked all the time by influencers to be like, hey, want to come do a private tasting and a tour? Is that okay? We'll post about you. I'm like, sure. Like, you can go whenever you want. Tastings are free. You know, we don't charge. We don't do reservations. We don't charge for tastings, and people don't realize that, so they just don't want to pay the whatever $15 it's supposed to be to do a tasting. But like, I'm happy to host people because we host anyone who's not an influencer. But I don't ever want or expect them to post anything about us. Well, I mean, make that very clear when they come there. But I have that luxury as like a small brand. But when I open restaurants and you don't, again, like, if you're not selling things and your restaurant's not full and you need to reach out to the media, and right now social media is the biggest influence. Mm-hmm. So then you pick, like, I personally would cherry pick who I think has an authentic voice. I don't really want somebody who
just wants the clicks. And
also posts like 5 restaurants in a week. You know, like, clearly that person's just making a lot of money, and no judgment to them. They're trying to this is their job. But somebody who maybe like promotes different brands and then does a restaurant once a month, that to me is a little bit more impactful, because that person doesn't talk a lot about restaurants. When they do, they're normally very genuine.
Well, and I think that's probably where I somewhat struggle with this idea, is more in the sense of like, are you bought and paid for, or are you actually doing this because you actually like the industry? Are you someone who's going out of your way into you just want to shell and you want to promote just so you can build your brand and build your image and build your likes? Are you really actually interested in these restaurants? Are you actually really interested in?
There are some that are, yeah.
No, I'm not saying they're not.
No,
I know there are. I'm just saying, but I want to get engagement. I want to get to 200,000 followers, and I want to get people liking my shit. I don't really give a shit about these places. I'm just doing it just to get the likes, the views, all this stuff. And it's like, are you actually really someone who's invested in this?
You know what I love is when I follow a couple of food media influencers, because I trust their opinion, because friends of mine have opened restaurants or work or own restaurants that they've come to not knowing that they were there, and they still post about it. Mm-hmm. So that to me is like, and they're like, oh my god, X posted about my restaurant, that's so amazing, James. I'm like, then I'll follow them because I knew that was a pure expression. I'm like, okay, so this person just loves food. Mm-hmm. Even if they have 30 million followers and they're in New York and LA all the time, but still, like, they clearly go to restaurants that they're the ones that I'm talking about. They find a space like people should know about this, and that to me is pure and beautiful. And so they're the ones that I would like to work with or try and source out.
Jimmy, how often do you get asked about influencers to come to your restaurant?
It's very regular, like multiple times a week.
Wow, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I think it's just going to get more and more. Like, I think you're going to get more and more of them, and I think it's going to be more.
We just don't engage with that.
No, what I'm saying is, like, I think this creator economy in the sense of TikTok, the TikTok world and the Instagram world, where more people want to get into this space and they want to drive their brands, all this stuff. I think it's going to kind of be something where it's going to saturate for quite a while, and then eventually we're going to see a hollowing out where there's only going to be a few that are actually the ones who are successful.
Well, I think we're on the tail end. I think it's.
Do you think it's near the tail end?
Yeah, I think it's been oversaturated for a long time.
Yeah. And
I think now
it's also a lot of work.
And like the whole thing in that article was like micro influencers. It's so funny because they're more effective now than the macro ones that have the 400,000 or 1 million followers. Mm-hmm. The person that has like 3,000 followers can have better engagement, which is hilarious. So I think that we're on the tail end of, and I mean maybe I'm wrong, but I think that people are seeing through, because everything's paid partnership, or everyone's always trying to sell something. We all listen to podcasts now. There's always a fucking ad about AJ1, whatever those athletic greens are that I'm trying to You know, there's always the fucking same ad all the time, and those influencers now, to me, are kind of pretty similar.
Well, and that's the thing, right? It's like once you find out that they're starting getting sponsorship and buying paper, it's like, okay, where's the authenticity?
Exactly.
Like,
So
are you genuine, or is it just more?
I think we're on the tail end of the social media influence trend, but I mean, what do you think?
I don't know, man. I don't really think about it very much.
Yeah. You're not following any influencers to go?
I have a couple that I follow on Instagram, yeah, for sure. I just don't put a lot of thought into it.
He's all nostalgic.
Do you remember?
He's told.
What's that?
Do you even know what Instagram is?
What's that Rick and Morty kind of quote? There was that thing that was going around Instagram. Like sometimes, if you want to conduct the orchestra, you got to turn your back on the audience, and that's kind of it. That's again getting back to my point earlier, the Rick Rubin thing. I'm good, mate. Thank you. You just have to do things for yourself, and I don't know. That's maybe I'm a fucking dinosaur, but that's the way I like to do things, and I think that we're gonna have full circle back to that approach as we get more and more of the homogeneity.
But it goes back to what we're talking about in being in our own thoughts. You know, there is beauty in the fact that we can maybe disconnect sometimes, and I really hope as well that this addiction that we all have to carry around these fucking devices and always look at Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is, or your sports app or your stock app, whatever. I think that's hopefully is a trend that will go away. You know, like people come to the Okanagan to disconnect and to go wine tasting. They go to the island all the time to do those things, you know, and I think that we need to spend more time having conversations in the elevators. Next time you're in a fucking elevator, say hello to the person next to you. And if you're shopping, take your headphones out when you're doing the transaction.
James,
some more hospitality.
James, we're gonna come to the Okanagan to see you.
You know what? Fuck you guys. Fuck you both. They have been threatening for years.
What's next, man? Let's go.
Fuck off.
I gotta go for dinner soon.
And then when they wanted to come, they want to come over for Thanksgiving.
Okay. I definitely missed that part of you. Last thing, basically, we got a couple new openings. We got a couple closings in the city. Gooseneck, I went to it recently.
Me too. Justi.
Justi, is that what it's
Yeah.
Justi? Okay, my bad.
Yeah, they
you went to it?
Yeah, I went to the logo.
It was good.
Yeah.
Mark Perry is running it. Lisa Cook's working there.
It says she buys my fucking wine, but you don't.
Yeah. Weird.
Miguel.
When she worked with me, she didn't buy your wine. Must have been me telling her not to.
Exactly, that's what I mean. And when she was at Savio and Pepino, she did. So
yeah, there you go.
You're the
Just trying to get that natty crowd in.
Yeah, so what'd you think? I thought it was pretty good. They didn't change the space too much.
Yeah, I went there and sat at the bar, had a pasta, and dropped off some fortified, which you have to taste before you leave, actually, because maybe you buy that.
Unlikely.
Yeah, let's be honest. Yeah, I just went in there to say hello. I wanted to say congrats. Yeah, I literally had just driven in from the Okanagan. That was the first day I got here. But yeah, I had delicious stuff. I'm a sucker for stuffed pasta.
Yeah.
So I had like the game hand, all the 3 different like poultry stuffed pasta. It was delicious.
It was delicious. I mean, it's good.
And New York sour made by, I can't for the life of me remember the other Lisa's Wayne, the other son on the floor who bartends, and he made me a New York sour with the Fortify, which I thought was really cool.
Nice.
But yeah, it was a good time. I mean, it was like seeing, it's like a reunion party. I saw everyone, you know.
Miguel's there, Travis is there.
I love Travis. I have the biggest crush on Travis. He's just a fun
Who's Travis?
Travis is an old school, or not, like industry guy. He was at Savio back in the day, then worked at Buffalo.
He was at Buffalo.
I know Travis.
He's got a tattoo on his knees that says high kick, and he does this. If anyone ever sees Travis or he's your server, just make sure he's just so much fun. Just lean into his energy because you're gonna have a great time.
He's great.
If he tells you to order something, get whatever Travis says.
Have you been to Kavita?
No, not yet, but I've heard that Kavita's like
New Middle Eastern
omakase style, like Indian restaurant on Main Street. Michelle was saying really good things about it.
Yeah, it looks good.
And some other friends of mine went last week, and I think it was like opening night-ish. And, you know, they spoke very highly of it. They did also say, well, you know, it's still finding its feet a little bit, like a couple of little stumbles, but that it's going to very likely
they went
be
to friends and family, though.
a great restaurant. No, I don't think they did.
Oh, okay.
Michelle did earlier, but then...
I was supposed to go to Friends Family, but I didn't get a chance.
Yeah.
How long has it been open for?
Like, that's like 2 or 3
Not
weeks.
even 2
Yeah,
weeks.
I mean,
Yeah.
Friends.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So I can't wait to go, honestly.
There's a new Jeju place that just opened up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys know who's in that?
Yeah, I know.
I've been to the one in Tofino, obviously.
Yeah. obviously know the group.
Oh, you know? Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Tofino.
I forget.
That's the homeland.
I get it.
They make really good food.
They're very talented. Jeju and Tofino is very popular. They're I've had friends that work with them. They've also carried out products for quite a while. Another restaurant that's beautiful and supports friends. But the room is apparently stunning. I haven't been to the new space here in Vancouver, but the room is beautiful. I think the cocktail program is supposed to be very unique and out of this world, and the quality of food that they can deliver is pretty amazing. So I'm excited for them to see how they can, they were from Vancouver, or Korean obviously, but lived in Vancouver first, couldn't afford to have a restaurant here, could afford to open a tiny restaurant in Tofino, which is what they did, and now they've come back to, this is their dream, and I think they're really pushing to try and be Michelin recommended or get a Michelin star, so I'm curious to watch it.
Oh, they also, oh wow, okay.
Yeah, they're not fucking around.
Okay, so I gotta go. Okay.
And it's a couple that own the restaurant, and then his mum and dad, or her mum and dad, I don't know which in-laws it is, but they work heavily in the restaurant as well, and it's very authentic food. This is a restaurant not to be missed.
Okay. Yeah, I look forward to it.
This is one that's not fucking around.
And then some sad news. Unfortunately, there's a few closings lately. Gato Gabla closed, but then they went to Mojo Cantina Izakaya, and that closed too.
But I thought, then I read an article about that. I thought they were just doing like random pop-ups.
They were, but they've done the pop-ups too.
Okay, that's it. I mean, I'm not surprised. Like that space is like,
it's a weird space.
It also seems like it's been cursed because it was a cafe. Then
it's gone through a few things.
James, you're awfully quiet.
Well, I don't know. I believe the whole curse thing, but I think that it was a transitional time for that company, and I think that
Ashley left.
Yeah, and I don't know if they really were able to
maximize what they were looking for.
To really express themselves in the way that
I mean, you really went from cafe to like wine bar in the evening to Mexican to Japanese izakaya. You really threw.
I think you're confusing the public, and that place is going to need to fallow for a while, I think.
And then the
maybe Toasties can go in there.
So
Toasties fuck out of here. Fucking rude. Hey?
Not knows how much.
That'd be a great toasty space. There's
no such thing as a great toasty space.
Pamplemousse on tap and toasties.
Right.
French kiss, mate.
You know what sucks is everyone's gonna be able to see you do that now, and they're actually gonna like you for doing that. You know, your face is gonna be involved, and you get the whole thing.
Toasties, yeah. It's somebody's gonna do it soon, and at least I'm like, I talked about it for years.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just need an old guy to back me.
Well, now they can see how old he is. I feel that white there. It's going on. Then El Compa Cocina Mexicana, which was the one that was in the old left space. That's or next to the old left space.
Never got to go.
I went down to it. Yeah, it's along the whole same street as Niwa.
Tall Street.
Yeah. I feel bad about that one too. I never got a chance to go. Then Mila over here, just on the streets, closed now too.
Yeah, that way.
I mean, that's not shocking.
That way.
Yeah, that way.
Oh,
that way.
It's next to the Beltway.
Yeah.
Behind us.
That way. No.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
You're pointing at BC Place over there.
Yeah,
it's over there. It's Kiefer. It's the old Juniper space.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. And I hope whoever goes in there next just
I think
it's a weird space.
That space.
It's not a great space.
It's a terrible
restaurant. Yeah.
If Virtuous Pie couldn't make it work.
No, but it's got this upstairs and downstairs.
I'm very well aware.
I don't know how you build a restaurant.
They opened.
I commend them for even doing it for 5 years.
You know what's really? Sean Layton was opening. So when before KT opened, his little neighbor at Balboa.
And then Potluck Hawker Eatery up on Candy Club.
Yeah, which I found
surprising.
I'm
shocked by that one. That's sad.
How do you think quite a bit?
And then Mortadella, just in the old Freedom Spot.
I really need to go in there because we've emailed back and forth about he wanted to order wine, and every time we ordered it was stuff it was sold out of.
Probably because I bought it all.
And I just feel terrible again. I was in the middle of harvest, so this week I'm going to go and poke my head and say hello, but I love that space. Yeah, you fuck.
Is it all about wine for you? Jesus.
Just for him, just for James.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
Alright, well, gentlemen, this has been good. I know you both got to get going.
I'm having dinner at Chase Lane. What are you having dinner?
You going to Chase Lane tonight?
Yeah.
I'm going next Wednesday.
Really? Yeah, I'm going tonight with Mickey and JK.
Oh, it's so good there.
Yeah, I'm going to sit in the bar and have a pork chop probably.
You want to come next Wednesday?
Maybe, yeah.
Where are you going for dinner?
He's going
to. I think I'm going to go.
to Elio.
I'm actually going to go to June.
You're going to June?
I think so.
I would go to June.
I'm going to go, yeah.
I'd go to June over Elio personally, but that's my preference.
I'm going to a punk show.
You want a pub show
I'm
tonight?
going to a pub show
Nice.
at the Pearl tonight.
Look
At
at
the
that.
where?
At the Pearl, Wine Lips.
Pearl.
So Wine Lips, fun Canadian band from Toronto.
Oh, that's nice.
Lots of bougies, so it'll be good.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
It's like Alicia Keys, but not.
It's kind of not, but that's okay. Gentlemen, this has been great. Everyone out there, buy your Pamplemousse Jus. Go to the Gooseneck restaurants, Bells and Whistles, Buffalo, and Lucky Taco.
Not if you want to drink Pamplemousse.
No, not if you want to drink Pamplemousse. Yeah. And
And also, there's lots of other great BC wines, so just buy BC wine.
yeah, it's been great to see you both. Love you. And now you can see their faces all the time. So it's just great.
Well, not
And
me.
we're gonna have a poll. You guys can write in the comments on YouTube just who's more handsome.
I don't want. I think a poll's. Let's have a poll on what list do they like out of the top 15 list that we did. I think that.
Yeah, but
should
a lot of
be
people remember this. That's a year ago. We gotta do new.
We should do it.
We're actually we're supposed to do the restaurant draft.
The poll that we should do is: should James Iranzad sell Pamplemousse Jus at one of his 6 restaurants? That should be the poll.
Maybe you learn how to pronounce my last name first. I think about it.
And with that, we are. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Cheers.